How dare you?
Oh,
I didn't
God.
come prepared to discuss that this morning. As much as I'd love to.
Okay, then let's forget it.
No, I want to discuss it. I just don't have a good answer because I haven't thought about it. We like broad strokes of good versus evil, of triumph over adversity.
Oh yeah, fair.
And
So,
all the
Spider-Man.
better if it's
Yeah.
buff people.
Going to try and get a sentence out without a yawn in it.
Buff, sexy people.
Hey, I haven't slept in 2 days and I'm not yawning. Get it together.
That was me, I think.
I'm just going to be
together.
a sassy bitch for this entire thing and just keep giving you all shit.
Yeah, keep sassing us. Do it.
Sassing.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I might.
So we jump straight back in after the Far From Home film. So the world knows Peter Parker is Spider-Man. We got some J. Jonah Jameson shouting. We got Zendaya walking around. Clearly we've got Daredevil in that one shot where we saw a guy with a white shirt. Gotta be Daredevil. No other options.
So someone said he looks a little bit too weighty for Daredevil.
Weighty.
Yes.
If I had to look, there's loads of reasons why it may or may not be Daredevil. People definitely think Daredevil's in this movie, and it would be cool to see Daredevil in this movie. But if you go back and look at the shot in the trailer,
Daredevil's in this movie.
if you go back and look at the shot in the trailer, he walks into that room with his arms crossed, and I know this is a fucking minor sticking point, but Charlie Cox is very specific about the body language and the movement that Matt Murdock uses. You've never seen him arms crossed walking around, you know. It would be a weird piece of body language for the way he plays this guy as a blind man, you know.
He also hasn't played the character in about 6 years, maybe. I agree. I agree with you, but it's also very possible that.
Sorry, 6 years.
I have to cut all these out.
No, he was in. He did
Sorry.
Defenders, so that was 4 years ago, maybe. No,
Yeah.
I think you're right, Aidan. But there is also a possibility that he's just forgotten all that good Daredevil stuff that he did.
Good Daredevil space work that he did in prep. I guess much has been said already that like Doctor Strange even agreeing to cast that spell is wildly out of character. So it
Nonsense.
casts.
No, it's not.
You think that's not out of
Characters
character?
do stupid shit all the time.
He's the magic
It's
Iron
called
Man.
Drama. Like, characters always do stupid shit. That's why you got
Affecting the
Give an
memory of the
example.
entire world.
You broke up there, Kev. I didn't catch all that.
Give me an example. Don't stop.
You stop.
I'm here, guys. I showed up. I'm here.
Have you a window you could open or a coffee you could drink?
You're here,
It's open.
but you were
It's
not
open.
present.
I am brilliant. I'm literally trying to get involved. I'm asking
Okay.
questions. Give an example of when a character does something really stupid out of character.
Literally any film ever.
Oh,
There's my answer.
That's some broad ass bullshit.
Characters do make mistakes. That's why you've got
Brendan
a
Fraser
film.
in the Mummy. See nothing.
You broke up again there. I didn't get that.
That was either like faking a yawn through static. Yeah, just I'm
No, I didn't know. Or maybe my internet connection is not great.
Also, it hasn't been a yawn once. It's just been an internet breakup.
It sounds like Aiden's having a stroke because that just went berserk on me. I think my internet connection might be a bit shit. I don't know why, but I've got great internet, so I'm not even going to worry about it.
I mean, I think it's a bit nuts to think that Stephen Strange, after all of that, would fucking go, yeah, I'll just change the memory of the entire world.
Yeah, because a young kid is being persecuted after saving the universe. I would be inclined to go, hey, you know what? I can actually undo this. It's in my power. I'm the fucking sorcerer supreme. I'll do as I fucking want. If the little teenager wants the world off his back, I think I'll do that. That's not a big stretch for a character to do.
It's fair. I mean, I'm not even going to argue with that. I'm not
He
able to.
saved the universe.
Did he?
Yes,
Did he?
he was part of a team that did it.
He was nearby, swinging around, handing footballs off to buzz-cutted ladies.
He got
He got blipped, so he wasn't even there. Where was people's consciousness when they disappeared?
They're gone. They're dead. No, they're
Aware?
dead.
Where were you before
when-
you were?
In my mother's womb.
The whole time?
Yes. That's how babies work. You cling on to your mother's womb until your dad shoots magic sawdust in there, and you have to hurry and collect it all and put it into the pouch and drag it into the womb, and then you can eat the sawdust while you ferment.
Do you think there's something going on with Strange?
Mephisto.
I think Mephisto.
You think Strange is Mephisto?
Do you know if you mix Thanos' face and Obama's face together, you get The Rock?
This is already like a very, near convoluted film. And do you really want to throw that into
I
the
don't
mix?
want to. The thing is, right, it's very, very close to the One More Day storyline. And the One More Day storyline was a deal with Mephisto.
But,
But they've replaced Mephisto with
Endgame
Strange in this
was
scenario.
very close to Infinity Gauntlet. But they took out the stuff that was a bit too much. They took out Death and they took out Mephisto. So they can do this story without bringing in Mephisto. And if you're going to bring in Mephisto, why make him Doctor Strange? I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. I think they're smarter than that. They streamline these stories as best they can. You can still do make a monkey paw wish without bringing Mephisto in. And it's not that out of character for Strange to do some. We've had one solo film with Strange and then like 2 small appearances. He's a brash, egotistical jerk. He's still a jerk when we meet him in
He's Magic Iron Man.
Infinity War. Yeah, he's Magic Iron Man. He's a jerk. He's a charming jerk.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
think
out
it's
of character.
I think it's pretty much. But I think it's pretty much like Strange will do it because he can,
And because someone told him
he
not
does
to.
it for Spider-Man. But Peter Parker is Parker's constant thing of, having the best intentions and fucking it up. And I think that's literally what the case here is. I don't think there's any big conspiracy to it. I think it's not Mephisto.
Got to stay on the microphone.
Sorry, I passed out for a little second. I think it's not Mephisto. I think it's just Strange.
Yeah. It's funny that like the thing is, between What If, Doctor Strange, One More Day storyline, Wanda stuff, Agatha Harkness, these things all orbit around Mephisto.
When the Winter Soldier came out and they talked about Project Insight and the algorithm and all the stuff it could do, I was like, oh, the shit, that's setting up Ultron. That's Ultron. And then it wasn't at all. And then Ultron came about in a completely different way. There's so many things that we think they're sowing seeds for because we can see all this like connective stuff and we join it up, and then they do it a completely different way. And I think this is just another example.
Excuse me, I never see seeds or connect anything.
That's because you're micro-napping all the time.
Yeah, I wish. God,
Sorry, Aidan, I
to
interrupted you
relax. Imagine if you could relax.
So let's forget the why of it and get into or even the why or the how, and let's just get into the it of it. We saw a pumpkin globe. Fucking asshole called it a pumpkin globe. It's a pumpkin bomb. No, we called it a goblin globe or a goblin
globe.
ball.
Sphere.
Fuck you,
Goblin ball.
motherfucker.
You see, that's why. Okay, hang on. You sent us that reaction video. It was too fucking idiot. Oh, it's a goblin ball. Sphere. And then Spider-Man is on a roof of a car and the girl's like, whoa! And it's just like, it's a fucking Spider-Man trailer. You're going to see Spider-Man in it. It's probably not even the first time he shows up in the trailer. That's why I hate reaction videos. They're fake people for fake things. Fakey fake. Fake fake. Fake.
Aren't you watching Changing Rooms at the moment?
Change rooms is not fake. But it's a pumpkin bomb.
Yeah. Pumpkin bomb.
This is pieces of shit. I would love that was like Defoe.
So
It is. They're doing the Sinister
it's
Six.
completely Defoe. Yeah, there's lightning fucking around the place. There's sand flowing around the place.
The lizard is in the trailer.
I have a question.
Is it the lizard or is it Venom?
Is it?
Somebody's like pushed the
lizard.
saturation or brightness up. It's the lizard, is it?
Yeah.
So is that Andrew Garfield's Lizard. Reese fans.
Probably.
So my question is, do we...
Put your hand up,
we've
Kev.
got... Kevin?
So this is not Marvel, this is Sony.
No, it's
Yeah, well, it's Marvel in conjunction with
both.
Sony, whatever the
It's this.
terms of the contract are these days.
Like the other Spider-Man movies.
Yep.
Like the other Spider-Man movies. Oh, okay. Well, for once, I thought someone said this isn't a Marvel thing, it's a Sony thing. I was just like, what? No. I'm not ready for that yet.
I don't know the ins and outs of it, but Sony's agreement is such that they benefit a lot from, involving and working with what Marvel's goals are as well.
So Marvel's doing this out of the kindness of their hearts. That's pretty big.
Marvel's doing this out of the kindness of their bank
They're
balance.
getting the money. They're getting all that
I
money.
think you're both wrong. Anyways. Happy birthday, Jack Kirby.
Are you okay? Happy birthday, Jack Kirby.
Yeah, anyways. No,
Did we see any
it
of
looks
Tom
good.
Holland's villains? Did we think we get the Vulture?
I
Electro.
think
Tom
Mysterio is
Holland.
coming back.
Mysterio, I thought was probably one of my favorite Marvel bad
So
guys.
we've got 3 Raimi villains.
Goblin, Octopus. Who's the third?
Sandman, probably.
Okay.
And we've got the Lizard and Electro.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it would make sense then to have Mysterio be the final part of the 6.
I'm pretty sure. Well, I'm not too sure about Mysterio, but I'm pretty sure Michael Keaton has says that he doesn't understand the script. He knows what he has to do, and it's been explained to him his part in it. and
That's
he
the
gets
Flash.
it, and
That's the
it.
Flash, I think, yeah.
Yeah, that's the Flash he was talking about.
What? He's in the Flash.
Yeah, he's Batman.
That was Spider-Man. Anyways, whatever. The Splash is never coming out.
Splash?
The Flash.
It definitely is.
What's wrong with me? Do I have a problem?
I thought the trailer was fine. It was cool. I was kind of underwhelmed, if anything. But not that it was bad. It was a teaser, basically.
The man who plays Dr. Octopus, what's his name?
Melina. It came up while I was watching something on YouTube yesterday. It played as an ad before something, and I just forgot to skip the ad. But Melina is just so good. He's so good as that character. He's brilliant. Just that
I think he
one
kinda
line
looks-
at the end, and just the way there's a warmth and a menace to it, and it's just it instantly brought back how great he is in Spider-Man 2. It's cool to see him again, and
Yeah,
he's
the
so good at it.
Probably one of the best Spider-Man movies. I think he kind of looks cute in it. Not cute as in like attractive, cute as in adorable. He kind of looks adorable.
He's avuncular.
What's that?
It's like a friendly uncle.
I don't like that, but yeah, he's cute.
I still like those films, but I do think they've aged considerably. And there's a lot of fat in Spider-Man 2. There's a lot of inspiring conversations that all come at once. It's like, we don't need all of these. We could skip a bunch of these. But it is great. I do like it, but it has aged.
I would have been happy if they'd killed Aunt May at the same time as Uncle Ben. That version of Aunt May was pretty insipid.
She's weird.
What? How?
Just fucking... She's a screeching fucking breaks to narrative progression. Just sit down and listen to this old lady tell him how special he is for 4 minutes.
I love Aunt May. I'm always gonna have a soft spot for her, especially the new Aunt May. Uh-huh.
So I guess they've confirmed that the movie's coming out this year.
It might not.
Yeah, it might not.
We mightn't even get Eternals on the date that we're supposed to, depending on how Shang-Chi does next week, apparently.
Oh, really?
If it doesn't perform, they're going
Venom's-
to push Eternals out, probably, and most likely they would push Spider-Man 2. Basically, the release dates for winter depend on how well Shang-Chi does next week.
Holy shit, Shang-Chi's next week.
Mm-hmm. You got to go to the cinema. You got to go outdoors. Be around people.
And then indoors.
Yeah.
It's
I don't
grand.
like that at all.
It's fine.
Call in sick to work, and then go some obscure day and time, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, can I get like a 9 a.m. screening on my own? Can I get a press screening? How do I do that? Hey, shout out to Marvel if you could get me onto any sort of
Yeah,
press
hey, are
screening.
we following their Facebook page? There's a Marvel Studios Ireland Facebook page, apparently. I meant to say this to you a while back and I forgot. But we should probably follow that.
Yeah, no, like we're mostly pushing the Instagram end of things because that's where we post all the artwork. And because I'm so very tired.
We're all tired, buddy. Suck it up, yeah.
Tired from sucking it up.
Man up. Man up and don't tell me about your feelings, because I'm not here for that. We're acquaintances.
This is a business relationship.
Yes. We talk about our feelings all the time, just in case the listeners are concerned. We're all vocal about our feelings.
They released another trailer for the King's Man, the prequel to Kingsman.
Oh, yes.
I really enjoyed the first
Yes.
movie. It has a really out of character line towards the end of it, which always stumbling blocks me. Stumbling blocks?
It's really trying to be
about
edgy.
the sodomy.
Yeah, it feels like a real holdover from a Mark Miller comic because he's got a bunch of that stuff in his comics. And by a bunch of that stuff, I mean ass fucking. The sequel I just did not like at all. I thought it was a fucking mess.
Brian's dog tried to jump out the window. The sequel, I mean, it had cowboys in it.
I was going to say, is that do you like it because there's a cowboy hat in it?
Yes.
And a lasso.
Excuse me, yeah. Yeah.
The Elton John stuff was
And
odd.
they drink whiskey. I mean, it just hit the same beats as the first one, didn't it? I hate when sequels do that.
The manners maketh man scene in the bar. Colin Firth being like, it was just weird. Just let Colin die. He went out so cool in the first movie.
Yeah.
The
First movie's brilliant. I love that first movie.
This is doing a kind of like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I'm trying to think of another thing. There's a few things where it's just like, hey, early 20th century, automatic weapons are a thing, and Rasputin.
Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah,
Steampunk.
yeah, and Rasputin is a terrible thing as opposed to just a sex mad priest in Russia.
With an evil slong.
Are you telling me he had an evil dick?
Yes,
Say
he did,
more
yes,
right
yeah,
now.
Yeah. It was disproportionate to the rest of his body,
But evil.
and it's in a jar and looks evil. Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
it
Because
is it
he
evil or is it
obviously
just
told-
misunderstood because it looks evil? Like Brian looks a bit evil.
Both? Yeah, an evil.
Is that
penis.
Gemma Arterton in the trailer? Ray Fiennes and Jimon Hunsu in it as well. I like those three people a lot. The guy playing Rasputin is giving it loads. I like the sort of Cossack dancing stuff we're seeing. Looks funny. Are you interested in this movie at all?
Is that directed to Brian or two of us?
Hey, two of yous.
Because I thought we established that if you were going to,
I should call upon one or other of you. Or you need to raise your
yes,
hand.
if you're going to ask a question,
Or just have Kev go first.
Oh, yes.
'Cause
Well, I
he's
do
just
try to
gonna
raise my
follow
hand.
along whatever I say. 'Cause he's too
Oh, yeah.
impressionable.
yeah,
Kevin always has to answer first. Go.
yeah.
Unless
Do
I
you-
feel like calling...
what was it? Do I like the
shut up,
Kingsman
Kevin, shut
stuff?
up, I'm talking. Shut up
What?
a second.
Okay.
Kev goes first unless I feel like butting in. Go ahead, Kev.
Yes, I like the Kingsman movies.
This is another movie that does seem to have sat on the shelf for 2 years while
Yeah.
the panda.
I saw the first
happened.
one. It was entertaining. It's super forgettable too, you know. And the church
I don't think it's
the church
forgettable,
scene
man.
is fine. People talk about it like they've never seen. I don't know. It's
To
fine.
be fair to that church
Daniel
scene, like
Brand.
that, they did a great job of that, and it's got great
It's
energy.
well- it's
and
well
it's
shot.
really well done.
It's well shot. It's fine. It's technically, you know, good.
Okay, you
It's
seem so
fine.
very underwhelmed by it. Please present to me
there's-
another scene to.
Well, no, it's not even that.
If you like that, then watch
it's, But a big deal was made about the fact that, Firth is so convincing as an action guy, and it's like I can
That's face
see
replacement.
in every single frame where it's not his face, so I'm not buying it.
No, less of that now. Stop.
Shut up. Shh.
Stop. That's called
Shut
movie
up.
magic.
Kevin. Shut the hell up.
No, here,
shut
I'm
your
impressionable,
wet mouth.
but
Shut
don't
your
ruin
wet
don't
mouth.
ruin movie magic for me. That's movie magic. That's
I
movie
said,
magic.
shut up. Shut
Fuck.
up.
I'm out of here.
It had Sophia Boutella.
Yeah.
You like her, right?
Yep. Do. But like that scene, it pulls me out of it straight away.
What pulls you out of it?
The face replacement. It's like
Oh.
I don't have a problem with it, but it's just
It's because you've got laser eyes.
I can see all the stitches.
Yeah.
I can see it how it was put together. I think people are way too impressed by, violence that is a bit gruesome and comic and looks like it hurt. It's the same as Kick-Ass, and they made such a big deal about how brilliantly Kick-Ass did with test audiences, and that famously the best movies ever don't get great scores with test audiences, and Kick-Ass got like 10 out of 10 test scores, and the film flopped. It didn't connect. And it was entertaining.
Kick-Ass was
It's
excellent.
entertaining. It's fluff. You see it
Yes,
and
one
you
of the best
forget
movies
about it.
ever, Brian. I agree.
You see it and you forget
Yes,
it.
I agree. Brilliant.
And
Yes, I remember.
it's
it very
just
well.
Vaughn doing his same bag of tricks, which I don't have a problem with. But I saw Kick-Ass. It's forgettable. I saw Kingsman. Very forgettable. It's fine at the time. It's entertaining.
Oh, I really liked Kingsman.
Yeah,
It's
I
grand.
kind of.
It's fine.
I really want to defend Kingsman because I
I-
really, really enjoyed that first film. That being
I
said,
would have said life changing.
yeah, it changed Kevin's life. Look at him in his three-piece suit.
Changed my life. Yeah. It's actually a t-shirt and hoodie and short combination, but thanks for noticing.
3 pieces.
Yep.
The stuff with pre-Colin Firth in that movie, I just don't enjoy the fucking around in the car, the weird parkour
it's
in the
lame.
stage.
It's crap.
Driving backwards in the CG Fox.
I'll say the second one wasn't great, but
The
the
second
first
one
one's great.
is a complete train wreck to me. Robot dogs fighting Elton John. Do you remember the robot dogs?
No.
I didn't bother with the second one.
They're programmed not to kill Elton John, so he gets himself in between Eggsy and the robot dog and goes, "Hello," and then he does kung fu.
it's. I did like it. I watched it. I think I watched it on a flight. I did like as in like it's a good airplane movie, to be honest. It really is. Especially if you've seen the first one and stuff. But the second one definitely wasn't great. I don't really because to be honest, I actually really, really, really liked the first one. I really enjoyed it. I watched that loads.
So the key
That
is
was
to
great.
see it at 35,000 feet on a 3-inch screen with compromised oxygenated blood.
with-
Nowhere to go.
and headphones to hurt your ears. It just came to the point where it was uncomfortable to watch movies, but I had nothing else to do, so I just persevered. Some people say I'm a little soldier. I'd say I'm a big one. Whatever.
I want to hope that given the cast and given the production and given the shift in era, that this is going to be a more solid thing. But I don't know why I do that in my head. I always think this is going to be the one, even though it's the same people making it.
But it has Gemma Arterton in it. That's a good thing.
I don't hate the first one, and I think Vaughn has a lot of good tricks up his sleeve, and he's a very competent director, but it's just a bit forgettable. And I think the fact that the second film is what it is kind of shows a lot
Did
of
Vaughn direct
his
the second one?
weaknesses. Yeah. And I think that's it.
Does he just do Mark Miller stuff now?
That was his plan for a while because it was a good partnership. He could do, comics were big and he thought I can have my own little corner over here, but then Kick-Ass bombed. So
I thought Kick-Ass was a
it all
success.
flopped.
Did it flop worse than... Did he do the X? Or he did Fantastic
He
Four,
did X-Men
right?
First Class, didn't he?
He did. Which, to be honest, I haven't watched enough, but it's a good movie. Layer Cake, Stardust, Kick-Ass, X-Men, Kingsman, Nike, Awaken the Phantom. That sounds cool, but it's an ad. The Kingsman. Oh, he's only really done very little.
Well,
He produced all of or most of Richie's stuff for a while, I think. So he's
he's a big time producer. 28 credits. Yeah. He produced Fantastic Four. Well, no one's perfect.
I really like Stardust.
Was that Charlie Cox?
Twas. And
Twere.
a blonde Henry Cavill.
I don't remember Henry Cavill, but that's a great movie. That's a really, really good movie, and De Niro's great in that. Well, okay, just me, whatever.
I think De Niro's the weakest point in the movie. And it has like 3 minutes of Ricky Gervais going. So I guess that's kind of saying something. I really do like what Matthew Vaughn does. I think he's got a really good sensibility, and I think he tries to make fun things.
He does, but I think the thing is that it's fun to look at once, and there's diminishing returns when you see it again. And I think it's the reason why I think his stuff is entertaining when you watch it, ultimately forgettable. And I think it's kind of why like Kingsman 2 sucks. It's.
I'm looking at that first 5 films. The first 5, like, I'm now getting on a Matthew Vaughn thing, and I'm trying to defend the crap out of him. Those first 5 films: Layer Cake,
Decent,
Stardust,
good,
Kick-Ass,
brilliant.
I don't want to go back and watch that because I think it is the Mark Miller stuff. I have this weird love-hate thing where I like Mark Miller's concepts, but then his execution annoys me. And Kick-Ass is a kind of decent live-action execution of that comic book, which means he's executing the work of a guy whose stuff I'm kind of really... Somebody described his stuff as just like unnecessarily cruel, and I like the sequel, like somebody just... They take over a neighborhood street and there's just unnecessary rape stuff going on, and I'm like, why in the fuck is this?
It's the same with Gareth Ennis for me. He's kind of guilty of the same stuff. It's just...
Do you think they're kind of just edgelords?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, edgy for edges, isn't it?
Especially
edginess sake.
I really dropped off on Ennis since Preacher, and I looked him up.
Wow, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, I looked him up, and again, it was even years ago. I looked up to see kind of like what else he had done, and there's a comic. It's published by a label I don't think I've ever heard of, and the concept is just the most fucking death metal album art kind of extreme nonsense. Have you guys heard of this thing?
What's the thing called? Like, I know he did. When I see the boys,
I can't even remember what it's called, but it's
and We Three. I'm trying to think of the stuff post Preacher, post Hellblazer stuff he did, because that stuff I love. But then I just watched him go weird.
He did lots of Punisher for a while, didn't he?
Yeah, but he did this thing where it's essentially a sort of a zombie apocalypse, but instead of a zombie virus, it's this virus that just brings out like the worst elements of people. So it's this sort of rage thing. And it is then just full of just stuff shocking for the sake of shocking. It is just I felt...
You see, and
my
that's
life,
what
my
the thing
life
is, I don't think
worse
Vaughn is
after
there.
reading
Yeah.
what the thing was about. I was just like, Jesus Christ! Like it's not that it's shocking. It's just that it just depressed me kind of reading about it.
Yeah.
And I think Miller walks similar territory, but not. He hasn't gone as far off as Ennis, I think.
But I think I don't think Vaughn is in that place most of the time. I think he touches into it sometimes, and it feels out of character. So when you think of something like Stardust and X-Men First Class and the first Kingsman movie, there's just shades of stuff working their way in. So given that he's on his 3rd Kingsman movie, he must think there's something to this. If I were him, I'd be looking for the next thing to get me out of it.
I'm trying to find the name of that Ennis thing. I can't find this. Did I get all that wrong? What am I thinking of? What was it? Maybe it wasn't Ennis. Who was it so?
I mean, I read his Punisher for years, and I enjoyed it growing up. In hindsight, I probably shouldn't have been reading it, really. It was some pretty fucking gruesome, dark shit. But some of it is a bit excessive and convoluted, I would say.
Yeah, I haven't read it, but I've seen stuff from it, and it's just...
I remember
it's just
seeing one thing.
Place.
Yeah, I remember seeing one thing. I won't go into it because it's pretty dark, and I sent it to you, and then you kind of pointed out the issues with it.
Yeah.
I do remember that, and I was just like, yeah, to be like, and like, you know, like I joke about being impressionable and all that kind of stuff, like, but I'm pretty open to like, okay, that I see the problems in that, and I was wrong, you know, that kind of way.
Yeah, and I didn't mean it to say that you were wrong. It was just
No, but I understand. Like that's what I was trying to say is like I understood that that's like, yeah, I can see the problems and how that kind of angle and opinion was problematic. You know, it's about victims of abuse and a circle of abuse, and it wasn't a nice take on it, and I thought it was an interesting story. But then in hindsight, it's just like, you know what, that's kind of mean and not very nice.
yeah, and like that is the danger with stuff is that we can be entertained by things that are negative, and that's kind of why it's important sometimes to be a bit critical about things, because it's very easy to read something that could be very harmful and be entertained by it and then not see the harm in it because
Oh yeah, yeah.
you're just kind of consuming it as a
Well, to be
something
honest,
lighter than it is.
but it's like I know this. We've gone on a mad segue. Law and Order SVU, fairly guilty of that.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
You know, because I know basically, I may as well say, basically there was an issue with the Punisher where he was stopping a couple making child pornography with their own children and stuff, and the Punisher was kind of killing them or whatever, and then when he was leaving the three kids, he looked at them and he looked at like the middle kid or something. He's only a child, and he said to him like, I'll know I'll be back for you. Like that, basically, the Punisher saw that that kid was too far gone, that he was going to kind of just like he was like kind of going to be part of this like circle of abuse or cycle of abuse where he was abused and then he was going to go forth and abuse, and the Punisher was almost saying like kind of like, you're too young for me to kill now, but I'll be back when you give in to whatever monster has been created inside you. You know,
It's just kind of grim for the sake of grim.
But I saw a comic book artist had done a little strip online, you know, and they were a victim of abuse themselves, and they were watching Law and Order, and they had kind of touched on that whole like cycle of abuse and stuff, and that person was only a child sitting in the room with their comic books and Batman posters and all that kind of stuff, and they started getting really fucking bad anxiety and panic attacks over thinking that they were going to be capable of the abuse that they had endured, which is a really horrible thing to put in a child's mind, basically, and that was really sad. I don't know if people have you seen that comic? It's like basically just like an internet comic book, online comic strip thing, like one page, you know, but some artist had created it and posted it, and it's just really, really tragic, isn't it? It's just sad that kind of like that's also a worry that like kids could potentially have when they see stuff like this. And I guess I didn't think of that because when I read the book, I was just like, wow, that's really dark, that's really like, wow, like kind of brutal, blah blah. But then in like I said, in hindsight and see like kind of being more informed, it's a rough angle to have. But also Preacher and Butthole Face or whatever, it's like
Arseface, yeah.
Yeah, it's edgy. It's too edgy sometimes for me. Like people love it. I'm not gonna shit on it. People love it, but yeah, I don't know enough about it. You know, the premise is pretty brutal.
I was blown away by Preacher when I first read it. Like I was gripped. I hadn't read anything kind of like it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, sure. Preacher, what was late 90s, early 2000s?
Yeah, maybe even early, maybe mid 90s,
maybe even
possibly.
earlier, man. Yeah,
possibly. But I know I probably wouldn't like it as much if I was to read it again now. You know.
Yes, yeah, but I think it's one of those things that kind of potentially is very dated.
Yeah, I think so. I found the name of it, so I'll read out a bit of it here.
Preacher was 95, Brian.
95,
sorry,
yeah.
2000. Yeah, 2000. So we're kind of right. Yeah.
So it's supposed to be like an extreme horror. Is the premise?
What's it called?
Crossed.
Crossed. I've not heard of it.
I think it's. I get the impression it's very much him trying to do a Walking Dead, but trying to do
an edgier version.
Yeah, or maybe trying to do an original take, and then thinking that just pushing it in a really extreme direction is original, but it's not. But anyway, Crossed. It's kind of mid. When was it first came out? First published in September 2008 to March 2010. Plot synopsis. The story follows survivors dealing with a pandemic that causes its victims to carry out the most evil thoughts. Carriers of the virus are generally known as the Crossed due to a large cross-like rash that appears on their faces. Other names include cross faces and plus faces. This contagion is primarily spread through bodily fluids, which the Crossed have used to great effect by treating their weapons with their fluids, as well as through other forms of direct fluid contact, such as rape and bites, assuming the victim lives long enough to turn. Major difference between Crossed and other fictional zombie or insanity virus epidemics is that while the Crossed are turned into homicidal, violent psychopaths, they still retain a basic human level of intelligence. They're still capable of using tools, weapons, driving, setting traps. And the contagion spread across the world, with Crossed killing, raping, engaging in cannibalism and maiming for fun. Military overwhelmed, friends and family butchered each other, cities turned into charnel houses. There's stuff that I kind of read as I was going on, and it just sounded like, yeah, the road is grim, and what if I just, made it way more extreme and graphic and just remove any of the, humanity in the story and the road by just
I mean, I'm looking at an image from the book here, and it's pretty wild. And then the captions are even fucking wilder, and it's just not cool, to be honest. It's a bit weird. Yeah, the kids are involved, and it's gross.
Yeah, just wrong.
Yeah, no bueno. Did anything nice happen to you this week?
I mean, it wasn't a bad week. It was okay.
Okay. Do you think the good times outweigh the bad, or do you think it's mostly bad times with sprinkles of good?
Depends.
Yeah.
Depends. If you have too many lows in a time, then it's going to lower your mood, and it's going to be hard to appreciate anything good.
This is true.
So you have to kind of try keep a perspective, which is hard to do when you've got a succession of, hits or losses or whatever you want to call them. Gotta try. I think it's, it's probably 50-50. And then we have to do a lot of work ourselves to try stay in a place where we can be healthy and try not to...
Yeah, I think it's 50-50. But I think the human brain kind of dwells in the bad things and doesn't dwell in the good things. Not that should dwell in the good things, but you know what I mean? Like, as in, like, I could go out for dinner. It could be a terrible experience. I'm going to text and tell you guys. But if I go out for dinner and it's a lovely experience, it was perfectly fine, I'm probably not going to text and tell you guys. That's life.
Yeah.
Anyways, how did we get on this?
From Ennis.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, God. Yeah, you know what? Just no. No, you know what? Nah. I'm not here for that shit.
I'm fine with horror. I'm fine with gore.
Yeah, I love horror. You know that.
But there's... Yeah, this just... Yeah, it's just...
It's like murder porn or something. It's a bit...
Yeah.
Or gore porn or something. It's a bit gross, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It's not big and it's not clever.
No, it's not. And Mr. Ennis, if you're listening to this, you have fans.
Grow up.
No, don't. No, I was trying to walk him back.
No, he should grow up.
He should. No, he shouldn't. He's Northern Irish.
He's Northern Irish American.
Yes, Northern Irish American, which is funny. I was at the little soiree. Is that the word?
Depends what you're trying to say.
Dinner party.
I guess that works, yeah.
Yep. And they had Google, and I was like, okay, Google.
They had Google at a dinner party.
Yes. Guest of honor, I believe. I didn't actually meet them, but I could hear them talk. It was so weird. Wow. Yes, we were playing a movie game where you'd pick the decade, and then it would say like a line from the movie, and you would have to guess the movie. And why do I know so many movies that I haven't even seen? It's very bizarre. I think it's just like, I guess it's just like, oh, they said it's 1999, it's this actor, they were probably doing this around the time, and then you'd guess it, you know what I mean? But I got a lot right of movies I just haven't seen, which is bizarre. But yeah, I think I just consumed a lot of that kind of stuff growing up. I loved that stuff growing up, but trailers are great. Trailers used to be great.
I think they can still be great. They were very different back then to what they are now as well.
Yeah, but like you see the likes. I suppose like, well, it kind of depends. Like, but but were people always as analytical with trailers, or is that like a new thing because of the internet and stuff?
I think they probably were. I think the internet just gave people
They were a platform to communicate and talk about it together.
Yeah. I think the reason why that is a thing now is because people were doing it anyway, and now they've got a megaphone and a platform and broader reach. And there's an audience for it because we like it.
I won't get into it, but I will say Emer and I watched Too Late. And I said, oh, Brian recommended this. We'll watch it for the podcast. And then like during it, Emer was just like, did Brian just recommend this because he looks like the guy? She thinks you look like Jonathan Hawks. Slightly. That's a good thing. He's handsome. I like him. I don't know if you froze or it's my internet. Blink, blink.
I think he is handsome, but we both know why we look like each other.
Why do you look like? Why?
Big schnoz.
No,
Obviously.
No. I didn't think that actually. I thought it was more like the hair and the way it framed his face and different things. But sure, big nose. What does that matter? Like, as in, like that's not a bad thing. I got big, beautiful eyebrows.
I'm saying that's the thing we have most in common.
Oh. But
skinny
the guy
dudes with big noses. That's us.
Do you know the guy from Whitnell and I?
Yes.
Not Richard E. Grant, the other chap.
Yes.
You look awful like him sometimes. When you watch that movie, he looks a lot like you sometimes.
You've been told, yes.
Have you watched it and think he does look a little bit like me sometimes?
I can see it.
Yeah.
I can see
fair.
I can see what people see. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been told I look like a lot of people that don't
me too,
look alike. But like yours probably look alike. A lot of mine are just like you're telling me I look like people that don't look alike at all.
Give us examples, because people told you this. It's not an ego thing. People told you.
Yeah, and I think a big part of it is just curly hair as well. Is part of it. I'm trying to think of like two distant ones. All right, well, John Hamm, bonkers.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I've not seen that.
John Hamm is probably the beard. Jamie Dornan, but that's also probably the beard and short hair that I sometimes rock.
Really? Is that the 50 Shades of Grey guy?
Yeah.
Really?
John Hawkes, who we've just mentioned.
Yes. Yeah.
Elijah Wood, which again, curly hair. Cillian Murphy, I get a lot, which I don't see. Yeah, I've got an asymmetrical face, so I can look very different depending on the angles, and I think that's what it is.
Do you remember your one of your old Facebook pictures, profile pictures, used to scare me because you look like a Victorian dead person?
Yes, I still think about it. The fact that you hate it so much and I don't get it.
Oh, you creep me out so much.
I gotta find that.
Yeah, it was awful. Oh well, geez, I gotta say it was awful, but it did scare me. Yeah, well, I think Brian's very handsome. I always thought Brian was very handsome. I always think Brian's very handsome. Thank you. But yeah, for sure. But yeah, that picture used to
tell it to the women. Am I right?
Yeah, somebody please tell them.
No, they don't. No, because if everybody knew Brian, they'd ruin it. Save it for someone special.
Disagree.
So let's jump into what if, because time wise and stuff. So my brother texted me and said he didn't like it, but he hasn't got as much as a hold on me mentally as Brian does. But or Aiden. But I really liked this episode. I thought it was great. This is kind of the what if that I really, really like.
Yeah, it was a real what if scenario.
Yes. Yeah,
I saw a lot of people say it was weak and they didn't enjoy it, and I was like, it was a fun what if.
Oh, it's brilliant. I didn't know who it was. I don't know if you guys were thinking, oh, it's whatever. I had no idea who it was going to be. I loved it. And then the reveal, and like you guys know, I'm a bit of a Yellow Jacket fiend. I do love him. I'm a big fan of him. But I thought it was awesome. And then like kind of like murder mystery, brilliant. Like I thought it was excellent. I thought it was so good. I wasn't expecting an episode like that. It was like, you know, we saw like what Captain America would have been like if it was Captain Carter. We saw Sardo would be like if it was T'Challa. But they were all hitting notes that were kind of like in the movie and characters in the movie and different things like that. Like this one kind of took a real segue, and I really liked it. I thought it was brilliant. Now tell me I'm wrong.
I thought it was entertaining, but a bit light. I wouldn't say brilliant, but I was entertained while I was watching it, and I enjoyed it. And I don't think it's as bad as people said. It kind of zipped along, so there wasn't a lot of weight to it. Should kind of matter more when somebody is bumping off the Avengers, and it just kind of, I get it because it was moving so quickly. It was just like, we're on to the next one, so kind of it breezed through a lot of the stuff. So, but that's not to say it was bad either. It just kind of,
It was kind of paralleling Fury's big week thing, and that's kind of a zippy concept as well that they touch on in little shorts. So they were just kind of like bouncing off of that idea as well, which was they did it in the comics as well, but they refer to it as the period in it where Iron Man 2, the Hulk, and Thor all happen at the same time. It's like in MCU continuity, that shit all takes place over 1 week. So they kind of were just saying, you know, Fury's big week becomes Fury's shitty week, really.
Yes, I agree. Not that good an episode at all.
No, I
never
really
said
enjoyed
that.
it. I really enjoyed it. I did think
I did enjoy it too. Yeah.
it was a bit, as you say, light, where they sort of like introduced a character, killed off a character, introduced a character, killed off a character, and it's like, okay. I tell you what I got sick of. I got sick of the jokes. I got sick of like Coulson smelling Thor, you know, doing the Guardians of the Galaxy bit where he's like, he's a sleeping space angel pirate. Even dead, he smells like lavender. I was like, I think they could have reined that shit back. A little bit. Stuff I loved seeing Betty Ross again, and I really wanted it to be Liv Tyler, and I was kind of annoyed that it wasn't in the credits, because I thought it was a nice way to like, can we get Liv Tyler back into this universe, and Ty Burrell's Doc Samson can come along. Would you be a Doc Samson fan? Because he is Doc Samson in that movie. They just never made him 6 foot tall or 6'5" and green haired and built.
That's the guy from Modern Family, right?
Yeah.
Mitchell's in Bray.
I never watched the show.
Why is he in Bray? What's going on?
They're shooting a film.
Is it Cocaine Bear?
Yes, yeah.
The Elizabeth Banks directed thing about cocaine drop in the woods and a bear got at it. Now, when I first heard that, I thought it was going to be...
She's eating potatoes.
She was eating potatoes.
She's on Twitter eating potatoes, I believe, a couple of weeks ago.
There's a lot going on at the moment.
You know what? I didn't like Elizabeth Banks when she was in Scrubs, because I think she kind of threw a spanner in the dynamics of the show to a degree. But she's the lady in Scrubs, right?
I don't remember. I dropped off Scrubs. I think she was, yeah.
Yeah, she was in like she's in the Hunger Games and all that kind of stuff, right? Oh yeah, and she was Rita in Power Rangers, and she was in Spider-Man. She was
Betty Brant.
Yeah. I was going to say I didn't really like her in Scrubs, but I think she's awesome. I think she's a great actor, super talented person.
There's a lot going on in Ireland at the moment between Disney's Enchanted. There's a Florence Pugh movie being shot at the same time. Cocaine Bear is going on. The Vikings Valhalla stuff is getting shot. We've a lot in production up and down the country currently. The Cocaine Bear thing, I'm curious what the hell that's going to be, you know, because at first glance I was like, is this some Nick Cage survivalist horror movie? But there's some... I was reading a little bit of the synopsis, and it's about like they found this bear after the fact, and like an autopsy revealed all the negative shit that cocaine does to a mammal in high doses, you know. So I'm like, is this going to be a kind of... I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's... I mean, maybe you guys know, but like, is it a like kind of political thing where an environmentalist narrative where they're pointing out the effects of a drug, kind of like concussion or something, you know, the sort of the
No, I
human
have
toe,
no idea.
or
I have
is
no
this
Who's to say?
who's to
Guess
say?
guess we just have to wait until it comes to the theaters.
The other thing I liked about this episode of What If, and like I liked the Black Widow in it. I thought she was very Black Widowy comic booky, which was cool. And I was like, that doesn't sound like Scarlet, and I looked it up, and it's Lake Bell, and she's great, and I want her doing more things. I don't know if you know Lake Bell.
Yeah, the name sounds familiar.
Yes.
I
do.
I think she's probably been like the funny best friend in a few rom-coms, and she's been in she's in a movie called In a World, where she's like a voiceover actress trying to land the job of they're bringing back the In a World guy for a trailer, and
really
they're
like
trying
that
to
film.
cast a new In a World person, and it's all these different voice actors trying to get cast, and she's trying to be the first woman to say In a World.
Oh,
in
that's
a
awesome.
It's a funny movie. She's also in Man Up with Simon Pegg, which is a funny rom-com.
No, it's not.
Brian is also very much correct, but so am I.
She was Vanessa Fisk in Spider-Man Into Spider-Verse.
She's very much
She's
voice
Poison
work
Ivy
plays
in
a
the
very
Harley
much
Quinn
part of her career. Yeah.
show.
And she's in Where Hot America Summer, which is very good if people haven't seen it.
I'd be happy to see a Lake Bell pop up as a SHIELD agent or something. I don't know who she'd play as a superhero.
Abigail Brand. Abigail Brand.
Who's that?
Sword. Is that the right name?
As opposed to SHIELD, or
Yes.
Okay.
Ringing a bell? No.
No.
Is she the
She's
the kind of the fury of it?
yeah, and she's got green hair.
Okay.
And I don't forgot the name right.
Oh yes, I do actually know
I
who
know
you're
who you're
talking about.
talking about. I do know who you're talking about. I think Lady Hydra is kind of landing into that place. Countess Valderrama.
No. She's
Wilmer
doing,
Valderrama.
She's doing the Thunderbolts.
Good What If episode, and you're saying episode 4 is supposedly where shit starts to tie together and we see the effect.
Apparently, yes.
Well, I thought the reveal of Hank Pym and stuff, and then going about how he killed the Avengers in different ways was pretty cool. Did Mark Ruffalo come back and voice the Hulk?
He did.
Yes.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So, who came back?
Well, it wasn't Tony
Grillo,
Stark, or it wasn't
Ruffalo, Jackson, Greg, Hiddleston, Lady Sif. Is it Jamie Alexander? Is that her name?
Yes, she was
Yeah.
there as well. Yeah.
A lot of them came. Basically, it's probably faster to say who didn't come back. So
Michael Douglas came back.
Michael Douglas came back. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was a cool design for Yellow Jacket. I thought that was awesome. I loved it.
And he gave it
I don't know,
sauce
yeah.
as well.
Yeah, I thought it was great, to be honest.
No,
I
I
really liked it.
I really did like it. But it's
He did get, like, when I think back at that sort of like when Fury jumps over him and he goes, "Ha! Look, you're kind of spry for an old guy." Like that voice was like, that is a lot of like cartoon or character or energy in that performance.
so because I've had a bit of distance, I feel less bad saying it. But Sebastian Stan in the first episode is bad, and you don't blame him because he's probably not done a lot of voice work, and it's a very different thing. But the line readings he gives in the first episode are, he's trying, I think, but it just comes across, and maybe it's the lines he was given, but I think he was a weak point of that episode.
I don't even think it looks like Sebastian Stan. I think it's a bad rig.
I meant more the voice acting that.
Oh, I know,
Yeah.
but just while I thought nothing of it to feel anything about it. I was just more like, I thought he's a weird looking rig.
Contrast that with Douglas, who
Yeah.
you know.
But I
who
think there's
don't know if
points
he's
in there
ever
where
done
he
any-
doesn't sound like Douglas.
Yeah,
He did a
I
great
mean
job.
he is older now, so. But I mean, has
he'll
he
do
ever
a
done
lot
any
more
voice
voice
acting?
work, is that what
Has
you're
he ever
saying?
done voice acting? I don't know.
Well, but these people, they have to do that, like go back and record stuff, right, all the time. So I'm sure they're pretty familiar with it, doing voice acting to a degree.
There is a lot of ADR in the world
Yeah.
of film where you have to go and pick up shit.
I
that did
think
not
it's
get
different though
picked up by
because
microphones or-
usually when it's ADR, you can tell.
ADR is
oh god, additional dialogue recording or Automated dialogue replacement? Some version of that.
Just in case people don't know, let's go back to reshooting. There was that famous video of Hugh Jackman doing ADR for
The
Logan.
Wolverine, yeah.
The Wolverine.
So that kind of brings me to, I started reading that Heroes Reborn thing you were talking about.
Okay,
off the
yes.
back of that.
I
Have you
only
been reading
read,
that?
but I managed to read just the first issue, but I read a different comic book issue a different comic book. Started a different comic book this week. I will get back to Heroes Reborn. I just haven't had time. You started reading it. What do you think?
I really liked it, and it was off the back of watching that What If. I remembered you talking about Heroes Reborn, available on the Marvel Unlimited app, or your local comic book store. Support brick and mortar businesses, guys. They're having it tough. It's a pandemic, you know.
So what?
Blade wakes up in a world without the original superheroes or the Avengers as he knows it. It's kind of cool seeing Hyperion and the Blur and Dark Hawk or Dark Wing. Just this alternative heroes selection, and the Doctor Juggerdoom.
Some of the illustrations in it are awesome.
Yeah, there's some really cool stuff in there. Yeah, I think it's really worth checking out. It's fun. It does feel like another like I have a whole problem with like it was all a dream kind of narratives, because it's like I don't care. Then let's just get back to the real world and move a story forward. If we're going to do this little, like, it feels like a little loop to loop of narrative. It's like I'd rather skip the loop and keep going and make a difference.
There's loads of spin-offs to it, you know. There's like it's kind of hard sometimes following comic books. That's why I kind of try to follow like more contained stuff. But like kind of there's loads of offshoots, and then like even the new X-Men stuff. Like my God, there's like a lot of like spin-offs and stuff. And it's like it's hard. To
be fair to it, in the app, if you're reading the Heroes Reborn run, like when you get to the back page, there is a checklist of the, ancillary titles that are available or related to Heroes Reborn that month.
Yeah.
But if you just go to the next issue, you're going to get the next issue of Heroes Reborn.
Yeah. I mean, it's expensive, you know.
Yes. But did you not get the app?
I do have the app, yeah, but I bought them. I bought them single issues.
Ah. Yeah. Support brick and mortar, guys.
Yep.
Midnight Suns, you all watched the trailer for that?
Yikes.
No.
Can't wait to play it though.
So some of it did not like.
New character, the Hunter. It's not a very creative name.
Who's the Hunter?
That's what they said. I think they said there's like all these people surrounded by a new character, their Hunter, and I was like, it's very 2000s, isn't it?
Yeah. It's so for the listener, according to press releases, Midnight Suns is an XCOM style turn-based RPG set in the Marvel universe. I don't quite know. Go and play XCOM.
Turn-based.
Turn-based is the thing that
Jesus.
you need to latch onto there, really. I've never played XCOM, but I do get the concept of turn-based.
You play Pokemon.
Yeah, but I'm thinking more Final Fantasy VII would be the last turn-based RPG I played, where you like have a squad of people and you launch attacks separately and see the results of them.
Turn-based superhero games is lazy.
Yeah, it's just a different thing. Like that
Give me a
style of
Spider-Man
thing. The Mario Rabbids thing is that as well, and people fucking love that. Like it's
one of my favorite games ever is a turn-based strategy game, and it's so good.
What's it called?
Valkyria Chronicles. It's kind of like, what if World War II was an anime? And I love it. And you're a tank commander, and you've a squad, and you've got different classes of troops. So you've got your scouts and your shock troopers and your lancers and your engineers and your snipers, and you've got like maybe 20 points per turn. No, 20 points total to make a turn, like to take a turn. And if you don't complete the objective within your allotted points, it's an automatic fail. And then you've got certain objectives you got to meet, and you've got your scout who can move the furthest distance but has a low attack power, and you've shock troopers who can move a small distance but have a high attack power. And you've got your anti-tank kind of rocket launcher guys who don't move very far, have a high defense, but are only really useful for against tanks. And you've got to like decide like, how am I going to move these people, where I'm going to place them, and you discover stuff on the map as you're playing, and you get new recruits, and you got to like decide how you're going to level stuff up. And all your troops have names, and they can die, and if you don't get to them on the field, they're dead forever. And I love it so much. It's great.
I've not heard of the game, so I'm a little bit concerned. It might be obscure. You don't play the Nazis, right?
You do not play the Nazis.
Okay. Thank God.
It's World War
I was
II
just-
for weebs,
Okay.
basically. And I love it.
What are you playing that on?
I think the first game was on the PS3, and they've re-released it since, so you can get it on the PS4, and they made a follow-up to it that was great. And yeah, I'm a big fan. So I do like strategy games, but I don't know if I want to play a superhero strategy game. Give me the weeb version of it first, and maybe.
That's the one. Like the Midnight Suns in the comic book. I've never heard of this as a standalone comic series, but it's like
They were going to make
Dark
a movie.
Avengers kind of thing,
There was rumors that there was going to be a movie of it recently, but Midnight Suns, yeah, it's
or a magical
it's
Avengers.
Marvel Knights kind of meets the Avengers.
Yeah, and so they've got Justice League Dark as well is a bit like that. This, if you say there's rumors of there being a movie, you can see how video games and animated content kind of set up a cultural awareness of what's going to come down the lines
They
eventually.
always kill a character off before they're about to have a big movie moment. They're killing off Doctor Strange in the comics at the moment. They do it all the time.
So they
noticed?
kill a character in the comic books before they launch a film, or
Before, not, it doesn't necessarily have to be a launch, but very often before, it could be a character's debut, or it could be their next entry in a franchise. But you see it happen a lot where they'll kill a character off right before they have a film coming out. It's weird.
what's the
Is it-
intent there? Is it about driving the
buzz?
fan base
Yeah.
to the film, or
I don't know, but they do it.
Making it put in people's minds.
They're doing it right now with Doctor Strange. Anyway,
He is,
that's
yeah.
not
There is,
fair?
I think the book comes out in September or something. It's like I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, there's a new Strange story coming out. He also has there's also like a Strange comic book at the moment, where he's it's like Doctor Strange meets Harry Potter. He's teaching.
Oh yeah, I remember that they were sort of launching a sort of sorcery school type of thing.
It's meant to be pretty good.
Doctor Strange meets Harry Potter. Is that official?
He doesn't actually meet Harry Potter. He has a school for sorcerers, so it's crossing the concepts of Doctor Strange and Harry Potter.
Because
So
I
it's
was
not-
saying, if they did that for real, then we're only 10 years away from a Justice League Avengers movie, if that could happen.
Oh,
Well-
well, awful.
Harry Potter is
Warner Brothers.
It's not going to happen, but let's not even go there.
you're
It
probably
will.
more likely to have
It
a
will.
Superman meets Harry Potter.
Absolutely happen.
No, Brian, stop saying that, because you've
course
made
it'll
claims in the
happen.
past that you're very behind, and then you're discrediting all your claims when you go behind something like this. Side note,
You wait and see. I'm not saying it'll be anytime soon, but of course they'll do it. It's a moneymaker.
The Avengers meets Harry Potter.
No, the Avengers versus the Justice League.
Avengers
Keep
versus
up.
the Justice League. Oh, that'll happen.
oh,
yeah.
Avengers Justice League, no,
Yeah,
that
that'll
will
happen.
never happen.
And then everybody
Of course
will
it will.
fight, but nobody will win their fights because the rain will call
When
the conclusion.
Patton Oswalt did the filibuster on Parks and Rec. We all laughed at how silly it was, and then Disney bought everything and made it possible. Of course they'll do it.
They've kind of done stuff like that already with like Ready
If they
Player
do
One
it
and stuff, though.
anytime between now and when we're all dead, I'll still be right. I'm not saying they'll do it anytime soon, but I'm just saying don't rule it out, because of course they do it.
I mean, would they do an access? Sorry, I just had a little moment.
Do you have a little nerd moment?
Did you? If they did access, where this character's superpower is about crossing dimensions, which we're already getting with multiverse stuff anyway, and we're already seeing in the DC universe, then you get amalgam.
Yep.
Not going to happen.
I don't like that though.
I want to see
not
Superman meet Superman Captain America hybrid. Super soldier. He flies and has a shield.
Controversial opinion. Hot toys are cool. You know, you can get great hot toys of.
I got burned by Hot Toys once.
This is not
I know.
controversial yet.
No. What I was going to say is, who in their right mind would want hot toy versions of characters, particularly Hermione, Harry Potter, and the Ginger Lad, Like, who'd want them? It's kids in school uniforms. It's weird. I don't get it.
Who wants a billionaire playboy in a suit of armor? Who wants?
Yeah, no, it looks cool though. It looks cool. I don't want to have a hot toy version of me in fucking 1996. It's weird.
I don't think it's that weird.
Don't get it. It's a waste of money.
They have action figures of the characters, so why not ones that
Yeah.
are a replica of the film?
That's what I'm saying. Controversial opinion. It's controversial, guys.
Yeah, but I just told you you're wrong, so reverse it right now.
Okay, I take it back.
Good man. Good man.
Yeah, completely fine. Buy toys with kids. Put them on your shelves. In your basement.
They crossed Wonder Woman with Storm. I'm trying to remember the amalgam stories. Spider-Boy was fun. It was Superboy crossed with Spider-Man. He had a gun that shot webs.
Batman and Wolverine, wasn't it?
Batman and Wolverine,
Yeah, that
I
was
think.
Dark Claw. It was Batman with knives for hands.
Edward Scissorhands?
Comics can get fucking mental, and that could happen in the movies.
Yes. That's what we established.
Basically,
Nothing
it's
is safe.
where we're arriving to.
People are still saying that we're going to see Tom Cruise as Tony Stark in Multiverse of Madness.
Bollocks.
We're going to get Danny DeVito. Oh my god.
Where do they think that's?
And there's been talk, and Cruise had to stop filming for a bit to go to a place while he was in the middle of filming to do something else. It was all very mysterious.
There's no way in hell. Cruise had to stop filming and go and get some more fucking Botox in his face.
Leave it out, will ya?
Had to get some more fucking stem cells into his buttocks.
Do you really think it's not? Do you really think it's not in the realm of possibility that he would show up for a cameo in Multiverse of Madness?
He'd be a great Tom Cruise.
He would. He's the best Tom Cruise.
I think if Tom Cruise is going to show up, he's going to show up as something he can build on. He's not going to come back, fucking alt Tony Stark.
Not necessarily. I think that was probably true in the past, but not so much anymore. And I think he'd embrace doing a fun thing like that as well.
You're assigning basic human motivations to Tom Cruise. He doesn't do things because they're fun.
He does. He absolutely does. Do you know nothing about Tom Cruise? That's all he does.
He had 2 chicken tikas the other day.
He's a maniac.
He does things that his program tell him to do.
Stop.
Nothing to do with emotions.
Normalize liking Tom Cruise. Normalize
I've been doing that forever.
Not hating him for his religion.
I've been doing
People
that
need to lay off.
forever. Actually, we should be very careful. Let's cut the Scientology stuff because that's
Brian has scared me. I please respect my wishes and cut the Scientology stuff.
yeah,
out.
no,
Brian
genuinely.
scared me.
For so long, I thought that they were just.
If you intend me to cut all of this out, let's not even have this conversation.
Okay.
Because otherlet's I'll
Yeah.
want to leave it in.
Yeah,
Oh,
no, let's
I
leave
want- I
them.
really wanna
I
take
already
it.
want to leave in the
Take
stuff that
it
we
out.
left in. Okay.
I really want to hear what he said. I was really want to hear what he was going to say, though.
Subscribe to the Patreon if you want to hear us get sued.
I'll tell you afterwards, Kev.
We don't have an
okay.
active Patreon for any listeners. You could probably mail me money, but then I'd have to give you my address.
PO Box.
We watched Too Late. It's a film from 2015, written by Dennis Hauck. Hauck?
I would say
H-A-U-C-K? Dennis Hauck.
Well, I could be wrong.
Starring John Hawkes. It's neo-noir, be the way to describe it.
Yeah.
Brief overview. A woman is murdered and
A private investigator is looking into a young lady's murder. And say no more.
we see that in a half dozen or 4 or 5 vignettes that are told in not chronological order.
Do you think people just do that because it's just like it's an alright movie, and then they're like, how about we chop it up like this and make it makes it more interesting? Like Dunkirk was an alright movie. but then
Sometimes yes, and then other times no. Because sometimes it adds to the story. And it serves the story. And then other times it's just not necessary. But I thought it worked in this. I liked it in this.
So this was Brian's suggestion. He's seen it before. Did you rewatch it this week?
I did.
Kevin, have you ever seen it before?
Yeah, I'd seen it before. I didn't realise.
Did you
didn't
rewatch
realize
it
I
this
saw it
week?
before. I did rewatch it this week. Yes, yeah. It was actually I had started watching it, and then we fell asleep, and then I started watching it. Emer wanted to finish because she was.
I probably
really
told you
enjoying
to
it.
watch it.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, and then it was only when I was watching it the next day, I actually realized I've seen it before. Yep,
Did you both really like it?
I do.
I liked it.
I do.
Okay.
I just didn't understand one thing was
What?
kind of a bit confusing.
Why
When
that
he's
lady
in-
didn't put on pants at any point?
But she was having
She was having a
mental
moment,
breakdown, So yeah.
Duh.
She was clearly unhinged and kind of. But I shouldn't say unhinged because that's not right. She was clearly in a state of distress. But I was going to say in the scene where there's a drive-through and all that kind of stuff, and he says, "I wasted a year of my life on you." Like, when did he date
We
her?
don't know.
Like, okay,
It
so that's just
happened,
that was
yeah.
confusing. Yeah.
So it starred John Hawkes, Crystal Reed as the girl Dorothy. Dyken Lockman stands out because I like her. Robert Forster's in it. Jeff Fahey.
She also stands out.
He has the nerve. John Hawkes, as written by Dennis Houck, has the nerve.
Careful
at one
now,
point,
because while you were gone, Kevin told me that Emer asked, "Did Brian suggest watching this just because he looks like John Hawkes?" So careful what you say next.
that
Watch it.
Rubik's Cube faced motherfucker had the nerve to look at Dyken Lockman and deliver the line, "Your face is an acquired taste."
He's negging her,
Well, I think it's not on. She's a very beautiful lady.
no doubt.
I just want to talk about your face now, but
Yeah, go for it. Let's do it. Why not? What do you got?
It's like when you look into a kaleidoscope. It's undoubtedly chaos, but it's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
This movie stayed with me, and I'm still thinking about it. And there's really good performances, and John Hawkes is
He's fantastic.
really engaging. You can't the first phone call when you're seeing him at a distance on a balcony, his intention and his delivery, you immediately buy that he has bought in and thinks this is urgent and this is somebody. He's a man with purpose from that very moment, and you buy it and you go along with it. You saw the what if or the WhatsApp thread that I sent while I was watching this. I was annoyed and bored and frustrated watching this thing left, right, and center, but I can't deny that there were great performances in it. There's lovely shots. There's beautiful moments, and parts of it have stuck with me hugely.
I think you'd probably still recommend somebody to check it out.
Yeah, I
the
would.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah, I
and
would.
that's the mark of,
Now, and I've said this to you, and I've said it a couple of ways, but I think you could probably. I mean, I think you see where I'm coming from when I say this feels like an exercise. It feels like a showcase film for a college.
It's a low budget indie film, so
Yeah.
I mean, we could be wrong. Like, the people working on it could actually be, very prolific. The crew members who just decided to do this on, like, who knows. But I can kind of get where you're getting that vibe from.
I think it's a thing where it's like, as you say, it's a low budget thing that, like, maybe I'm misjudging it, maybe it's a choice, but it's like, it feels like we have one camera and we have limited time, so let's shoot this shot as one thing and whip pan back and forth between people the entire time. That drove me mad. I wanted it to fucking stop.
But it kind of served, like you said, like their vignettes, and a lot of them play out like scenes from a play almost.
Yeah.
So it kind of served that style.
Yeah.
It wouldn't make sense to have like a fixed camera with people having these kind of very theatrical, sort of stage direction and things like that. It made more sense to be able to just like zip back and forth.
Did you get the feeling that Robert Forster didn't have much moving in him? He's an older guy and spent the entire time seated.
Yeah, he looked a little unwell. So, but I mean, he was still around for another. He was still around for years after that, though. At least.
Oh, is he passed? Is he?
Yeah, I think only
October
the last year or two.
2019.
Yeah.
I mean, Fahey is great. Fahey, like, there's a lot of cartoonishness to these people, and it's funny because I do love film noir, but I get really I get kind of tight around modern noir, where it's like, I don't know that anybody talked like that in the 40s. They probably undoubtedly did not. But when I see people talking like 40s noir today, it just, I get, I don't know, it's a little off-putting. I have to fucking get past whatever the hell's happening on screen. And it...
There's a lot of stylistic things that you got to get on board with from the start. And if you don't acknowledge that and get on board at the start, you probably won't enjoy it.
I'm choosing my words carefully because I wanted to, like, it stayed with me. But it feels like a bunch of friends got together to make a film in their favorite bar and a hotel that they rented, and they knew the woman who played the music in the band. So let's give Sally her moment.
I think one of the things about it though is that
let's show that John can sing.
I think one of the things that kind of pisses me off about that is that if it had Tarantino's name on it, people would be fucking praising it from the rooftops. You know, there's a lot of things in there that I think if somebody was to just stumble upon this on Prime, they might dislike it a lot. But if Tarantino was to do it, people would probably say it's one of his best films. There's a lot of. I'm not a huge Tarantino fan. He actually frustrates me a lot. A lot of what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm on the same page with you there.
Yeah, a lot of what you're saying about this film, I would say about Tarantino as reasons why I don't like him and why I don't like his films.
Yeah,
you know?
Completely. The Tarantino films I like best are the ones where he subscribes to a very traditional narrative structure. You know, if he brings what are undoubtedly a very strong writing and filmmaking skill set and just told a story in a straight line, I love it. When he starts fucking around, I appreciate an artist's right to experiment and try things and whatever, but when I'm watching the film, I'm just like, ugh, stop. You know, like he obviously learned something and took from it and went away and did his next thing. And, you know, here is the artist's work as, you know, a finished piece that lessons were learned from, but like I don't enjoy watching it then, you know. There are people delivering performances in this movie that are so fucking much, and especially with the camera whipping around as much as it I don't think I can further articulate my thoughts on this film other than there's gold in here. There's great performances, very empathetic things, but
I think some of the stuff you're
really
saying about
in jokes for locals.
Yeah, and I think some of the stuff you're saying about like people's performances and stuff, you could also say about a lot of Lynch's films, for example, particularly his LA kind of set stuff. You get a lot of that. To me, like the film is very, it's a bit Lynch, it's a bit Altman, and then it's his own style as well, I guess.
The stuff I see in films that I think of as LA caricature and like kind of scoff at, but then I see it enough in films and I'm going, this has to be real to some degree, I guess. Like, there's got to be people living in dive bars, like kind of nocturnal existences, talking like it's 1960. You know, these people have got to be out there, I guess. And just the architecture and aesthetic of that world as well, like the very temporary, not temporary, but like recent built concrete buildings around huge streets where people wander from one place into a bar.
Hills.
Yeah. The guy at the start wearing his little pork pie hat and his vest, walking through the hills, like that's such a fucking look. I don't know, it's such a like Timon and Pumbaa selling drugs up in the Hollywood Hills. Yeah, I both hated this thing. I hated having to watch this thing, but also I like enough of the people in it that I don't know. It's staying with me. You know, like I think it's a thing that
I think the emotional reveals in it do hit you because of the way it's kind of, you know, it's not linear, so you're kind of discovering those moments much the way you would in a noir mystery, and
right.
I think they hit. They did for me anyway. When you kind of like, you learn a little bit, you learn a little bit more, and you learn a little bit more, and then, you know, there's a kind of a tragedy to it, and then even the fact that the reason the thing happened anyway. You know, with that scene with Forrester and Fahy, and while Hawks has like set up this pretense to get there, and while he's like egging on, I don't know the actress's name, but he's kind of goading that whole situation, of Fahy is kind of realizing that he, you know, did something terrible, thinking that it was about, you know, their business or whatever, and then finding out it was just a sort of a moment
Personal
of indiscretion
bullshit
and stuff. Yeah, and yeah, it was just, I don't know, I liked it.
Towards the end, and I don't know, I guess we can decide whether or not to cut this, because we did tell people on the last episode that we're going to watch this, and at the same time it's pretty obscure and kind of spoilery. So in that cinema at the end, did Samson's character find out after a year-long relationship with... Oh no, hold on, what order would this have happened in? Dorothy died. Did he find out that was because of Jill's actions, putting the Polaroids in the wrong locker?
I think so, yeah.
He found that out then. He found that out in that moment. That her stumbling upon those Polaroids and putting them in the wrong locker, not her locker, in Dorothy's locker, is what led to Dorothy getting killed?
Yes.
So that's after
he
met Dorothy.
He knew Dorothy had stumbled across the photographs. He just didn't know. It was only in that moment that he realised that his ex-partner had accidentally put them in the wrong locker.
So he meets Dorothy and Jill on the same night. They go their separate ways. Somewhere in the middle, over 3 years, he has a year-long relationship with Jill. Dorothy gets in trouble. All of the shit plays out. He's trying to round that out and finds out that the person he had a relationship with had accidentally put Dorothy in the line of fire.
Mm-hmm.
But it is, yeah, I struggle with that, Edo. Yeah, I struggle with that.
Like it feels like it played at like a Los Angeles film festivals as well, and like it being 5 years ago, and like Dyke Lockman was in Dollhouse 6 years ago. Oh, Jesus, time. I hate you. She has since been in Altered Carbon and Hawaii Five-0 and a couple of other... Is it Hawaii Five-0? She's on Supergirl and stuff. I feel like, you know...
Is that the lady who's in Justified?
No.
Who's the woman in
Okay,
Justified?
sorry.
Natalie Zia. Raylan's
yes,
wife.
okay, sorry.
Was Hawks is... She's Dorothy's mother.
Yes.
Is that Ava?
No,
or Raylan's ex-wife?
Raylan's ex-wife. What's her name again? Natalie Zia is the actress's name. I can't remember
Huh.
Can't remember the character's name.
Yeah, she was in it.
My mother just discovered Justified and really likes it.
It's very good.
Yeah,
it was
we know
funny because
why.
it was something... I don't know why.
Timothy Olyphant is perfection.
Oh.
I was kind of
Poured.
making a sort of niche Good Place reference as well. I think... oh my god, I'm blanking on the actress's name.
Christine Bell?
Maya Rudolph as the judge. I think you're getting this
yeah,
right.
yeah,
And
yeah.
she discovers
Okay, yeah, she's mad into
Justified
Timothy
and
Olyphant.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. Right, I remember.
She's mad into Justified just because of Oliphant, and she's only just
Yeah.
discovered the show, and like she's existed before time, and she's only getting around to the
Yeah,
show
yeah.
now. She's like, that's him, the Oliphant, yeah.
Yeah. Well, he is handsome.
It's something that I'd put on, like... I kind of knew that sort of crime drama thing is kind of in my mother, sort of like, she'll enjoy this if she actually latches onto it. And, you know, I'd put on an episode in the evening and she just was not paying attention. And I got to the episode in season 1 where the transfer convict takes a hostage in the station, in the office, and it's very
Dan from
tense and immediate.
Deadwood.
Yeah, Dan from Deadwood. It's a very tense and immediate episode, and my mum went, "What the fuck is this?" And she latched into it. And then I went upstairs and came back, and she'd watched the rest of season 1.
That's brilliant.
And we know why.
Well, that Timothy Olyphant
Yes.
is delightful.
Yes.
So, 2015, Too Late, Dennis Houck, John Hawkes, Dyken Lockman, Crystal Reed, Vale Bloom, Robert Forster, Jeff Fahey, Dash Mihawk. Ryder Strong is the one name I saw pop up in the credits, and I was like, oh, Ryder Strong. I haven't seen him in a thing. He is Sean from Boy Meets World. And if you remember, I brought up the movie He's All That last week.
Don't know.
It's because the guy who's playing the lead in He's All That reminds me of Ryder Strong from Boy Meets World. And he's the smaller of the drug dealers.
The last 30 words you just said.
Ryder Strong was the creepy drug dealer guy. Dash Mihok was his tall friend, and he's in Ray Donovan. And people haven't seen Ray Donovan, get on it. It's an excellent show. I liked it anyways, before Brian tells me why it was bad.
Okay, let's move on. Too Late. Y'all both recommend it. I recommend it with like weird caveats. It's just an odd fucking film.
I don't know necessarily if I recommend it, but I enjoyed it. Emer enjoyed it. Brian enjoyed it. But I think it's I think it might be a bit of a hard watch for some people, just because of the staggered timeline and different things like that. And it's very it has a lot of tropes and pastiches or whatever that word is. But yeah, I liked it, but I think it's an acquired taste. It's like that's something like I in the past I've watched movies in the past that have a lot of these like tropes and stuff in it, and I like those movies because of these tropes. Like I do like neo-noir, hard-boiled, detective-y stuff like that. Like so, like that's why one of the reasons why I kind of even really like Jessica Jones. It kind of has some of those things in it to a degree. But what I'm trying to say is I've liked really bad movies because of it's film noir or neo-noir.
Yeah,
I just like it. I just like it. That's I put my hands up, you know.
I'm trying to decide if it's good because stuff gets away with shit because it's like it's a pastiche. I'm like, is it good though? Check out Too Late. Comment on the Instagram. Send us an email. Send us an audio. Let us know what you think. Are we out of our minds? Is it terrible? Is it good?
You can find it on Prime.
Look at John Hawkes. Is he a bit like Scruff? Moving on.
Emer thinks so.
Brian, you went to the cinema this week. What did you see?
I went to see Free Guy, and I had a lot of thoughts about it, but it was a week ago now, and I don't want to get into it. But I think it can be best summed up by...
Hold on, if you have a lot of thoughts about it, let's talk
but let me watch it, and then Brian can change my opinions. Go on, Brian.
It's exactly what it wants to be. And I think it's set out to be the Lego Movie meets Fortnite, whereas it could have been The Matrix meets The Truman Show. It was fine.
Wow, that's all melt in my brain.
It was fine. I didn't particularly enjoy it. I didn't hate it, but there's a lot of interesting things in there.
Fortnite.
Yeah, it's exactly the film it tried to be.
Truman Show.
So, could have been more. They left a better film on the table, but at the same time, I was going to say about Too Late earlier that it's probably feels to me at least like it's a very well realized version of what they set out to do. Too Late feels to me like it's a very well realized version of what Hug probably set out to do. And whether you're into that or not,
I'm not.
I think it's a very, I think he was trying to do, I think the film we see is probably what he's trying to make. And I think Fortnite, Free Guy, whatever the fuck, I think it's exactly the film it's trying to be.
So here's a question then from not forgetting the film just being sort of quasi-invested in a person's career and wishing them the best. Jodie Comer's had a lot of positive feedback for her work on Killing Eve. This felt like it was going to be a leap into sort of big international film stuff for her. Pandemic kind of held it up for a year. How'd she do? Or how was she used in the film? Do you think this served her well in her career?
Yes. It did.
Cool. Because I think she's a good actress and she's very entertaining, and like anytime I see her in interviews and stuff, she's got a good vibe, and she's somebody I wish well in her career. So I like to see people succeed and elevate.
Is that the lady who was in the wrestling movie show?
No.
That's Florence Pugh.
No, it's not Florence Pugh.
What wrestling show? I thought you were talking about Fighting With My Family.
Oh no, it's not. I thought it was the one that was in the wrestling TV show.
Glow, Alison Brie and Betty Gilpin got there. And then there's also Kate Nash, who is English.
Yes, I remember Kate Nash.
Okay. I watched Reservation Dogs. Have you all checked that shit out?
I've heard about it, but I don't know anything about it.
Well, let me elucidate you. It is a
Consonant, please.
FX single camera sitcom. Sitcom isn't quite the right word when you think of sitcoms, but like dramedy thing. Set on a reservation in Oklahoma, where these 4 kids are trying to raise enough money to like leave the reservation, head off to California after their sort of friend died. And it's a fun and melancholy. It's like Taika Waititi is involved. He's co-creator on it. I'm trying to remember the name of the other guy who is.
Where do you stream it?
Sterling Harjo, Taika Waititi, and Bobby Wilson are the 3 writers on it.
Well, he ignored that question, so...
It's an FX show that you can get on Hulu.
Oh, okay.
So,
Can you get Hulu
just
over
log
here?
into your
I have to
Hulu
update-
account. You can, yeah.
Update my
Yeah.
Hulu subscription.
ExpressVPN, guys. One of our sponsors this week is ExpressVPN. You know,
That's
if you
not
want
true.
to be watching content from around the world,
That's not true. Stop
you want to keep
practicing.
your browsing private.
Stop practicing for sponsors. It's lame. You know what's not lame though? Goblin Spheres.
Goblin Sphere for when you need to throw a pumpkin bomb but don't have a pumpkin bomb.
I am looking forward to a good redesign of Goblin's costume. We
I
better
have a
get
soft spot
one.
for that costume. Yeah, I'm sure you will. I have a soft spot for that costume though.
I don't hate it, but
I hate it.
they need to rework it.
I've always disliked it because like it's as much as it's like, oh, what we're trying to do is show a sort of like a practical modern military take for this glider thing that we're building. You know, that's what it's about. But then the fucking helmet looks like a goblin. It's like, what are you can't have it both fucking ways. And I have always said that you could have kept that suit, made the helmet simpler, and there was an Alex Ross concept art which is just like, have the guy just grab a shitty tarp out of a warehouse or something he's in and just wrap it around himself for cover. That would have looked way more goblin-y immediately, just covering himself up.
Do you know what was awful? The goblin in Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Dane DeHaan, is that the right person? Did I pull that name? Is that him?
You did. Good job.
The guy from...
I'm proud of you, buddy.
Nice.
That sounded so silky smooth.
Because I get him mixed up with Paul Dano because of
They
the
look
Dane
nothing
bit.
alike.
They look
look
nothing alike,
nothing
but it's
alike.
just me trying to remember 2 names that achieved a degree of global notoriety around the same
He
time.
looks like an underweight Leonardo DiCaprio.
He does, yes.
Yes. Do you know what would have been... You think... I think...
The master to Leo's blaster.
I think we would have had Anton Yelchin in a Marvel thing at this stage. And it kind of makes me sad that it can't ever happen.
Anton Yelchin.
Yeah.
He did.
He died.
He dead in a way that I think about and picture.
Yeah.
And like...
Happened to a student in Cork a couple of years back too.
So sad, man. It's so sad.
Was it the same model? The same vehicle? Because it was
I
a
can't
braking
remember.
issue on the car. He got out and the car rolled down the hill and crushed him or something, wasn't
I
it?
can't remember.
Yes, yeah.
But
The
it
car was...
happened to a student in Cork as well recently.
That's really
Maybe in the
sad.
last 5 years. It is sad. It's awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
But yeah, Anton Yelchin, I would have liked to have seen him in something. And I say that so sincerely. I really liked the guy. I was genuinely, myself and one of my friends were big fans. You know, we made a point of watching a ton of his movies, and I couldn't believe when he passed away. I think even Tara texted me saying like, "I'm sorry about Thomas." Like she knew.
He was great, and it was really sad that like...
Should check out Troll Hunters.
Oh, so
Yeah.
good.
Did they had most of his voice work for them, right?
Yeah, they'd recorded all the dialogue ahead for the couple of seasons. So. And it's a great show.
It is a really good show.
It's
if people
very
have not
good.
watched it.
Mhm.
It kind of reminds me of like kind of the only like I would have watched the shit out of that when I was a kid. I absolutely would have poured over and loved it. It reminds me of that kind of thing. The only difference is it's 3D, you know, but it's like it has all the kind of characters and yeah, it's excellent. It's so good.
Just as we're talking about, I'm trying to give Reservation Dogs its due here, because it's but I also have a tangent I want to go off on. It's It's really good and I'm enjoying it. It's got a lot of that Taika Waititi thing, and you know, his name has such weight that it's kind of overshadowing Sterling Harjo, who is the other writer. And like, I saw him on a podcast recently, and he's talking about, you know, like, they're two indigenous or native filmmakers that did a lot of indie festival circuits coming up in the last 10, 15, 20 years. And, you know, Taika is using the clout that he has now to lift his friends up with him. So I think it's worth noting, you know, as Taika gets a lot of the name recognition on this project, it's Sterling Harjo is doing a lot of the lifting also, in terms of making it, like, you know, a representation of, you know, native and reservation life. And it's very silly and it's very funny, and it's got a lot of that sort of comedy out of, you know, human moments, and some pretty fun hip-hop stuff as well.
You're not a seller, but you tried. I'll check it out. Sounds cool.
So the other thing I was going to mention is Barry Keoghan was attacked and hospitalized in Galway 4 days ago.
He had a really hard life.
That?
Huh?
Are we going to talk about that?
Well, we could talk about it for a moment and see if we cut it. Like,
Yeah, it's gossipy.
it's
He had a
gossipy?
hard... Yeah, I didn't realize.
Is it any more or less gossipy than talking about Anton Yelchin dying?
Yes.
All I'm aiming for is
Yes.
a bit of sympathy for a guy who got hurt, and we look forward to seeing a movie coming up.
Nah.
I don't want to talk about the family life. All I was trying to get at was, I was sorry to hear that Barry Keoghan was injured.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that it happened in Ireland. Not that it should happen anywhere, but that I'm impressed by what he has achieved in a short career so far.
Let's say
I look
that.
forward
Yeah,
to seeing him in Eternals, and it's just shitty that you come home and you get into a fucking scrap.
Let's
But
say
he
that.
started on Fair City, so, like, you know, and he, like I said,
And
But,
I wish him a speedy recovery, is basically where I was going for.
Yeah, sure.
yes, yep.
Okay, so I think we should probably aim towards wrapping up. But at the same time, Kev, you watched the newest episode of Nine Perfect Strangers. That's got Luke Evans in it, does it?
Yeah, this episode was pretty good.
What's the show about?
9 perfect strangers go to a resort to fix their problems. Nicole Kidman plays a Russian called Masha, I think, and she is the head of this thing. But all these people are kind of, it's like, I don't know, I'm getting some vibes that it could be like a little bit losty, or like it might be going somewhere out of nowhere. Michael Shannon's in it, that's really great. Luke Evans is in it, that's really good. Bobby Cannavaro is in it. Melissa McCartney.
What did you call him last week?
Vincent.
Bobby
Danny
Rob
Sullivan.
Danny Calabero.
I posted that clip because you just went, and then I was watching this thing with Danny Calabero in it, and you just kept going. You just fuck it. They're not going to know. I'll just say it.
You know what I'm talking about, which is the main thing, because he can explain it to everybody else who is not an idiot like me. But Nine Perfect Strangers, yeah, I really like it. It's really good. I'm a little. I can't think of his name. He was in a good place. Or the good place. Oh, Jason. He's in it. He's very good. It's kind of funny seeing him in this compared to his other role, because that other role is like one of those things that could be like, you know, you're never taken seriously again.
So I haven't watched either of these shows. I don't know if you've watched one or both, but like what you're describing to me in terms of a bunch of random people coming to a resort, and you know, whatever the hell the point of the show is after that. White Lotus, Nine Perfect Strangers. Are they completely different thematically, tonally? Is one of them supernatural? You're saying it's got Lost vibes. Is one of them murder noir, or what about?
We see, yeah, because you see, like, all these people were put together in like, she kind of chose these people together, and you get the impression that these people can only work through it's all being orchestrated by her, as in these people can only work through their problems bouncing off of other energies and people, you know, that kind of way. Like, so if one woman is experiencing, like, you know, hardship and blah blah, and another guy is experiencing addiction, they'll actually, like, she's kind of orchestrated, like, she knows, like, kind of how to help these people and stuff, but she's orchestrated in such a sense that those people will actually become each other's rocks. And the idea is that everybody that goes to this place comes out entirely transformed and extremely different and blah blah blah. There's one, Michael Shannon and his family are there because he had twins and one of them committed suicide on his birthday or the day before his birthday, and it's there dealing with their grief. The characters are really interesting in it. It's really good.
Are there been any
bit lost.
comparisons to something like Fantasy Island?
No, but I got that kind of. I haven't watched The White Lotus, but that's no, because this isn't like supernatural or anything like this. This is not supernatural at all.
Right.
But at the same time, Nicole Kidman character is receiving death threats, and that's kind of, you know, a kind of element thrown in there to mix things up as well. But you're trying to, like, it kind of reminded me of a little bit of like. What I was initially thinking, it was kind of like, it was like Haunted. These people go to a retreat to kind of better themselves, you know, and you're learning about their stories and all that kind of stuff. The Chuck Palahniuk book Haunted, but it's not that kind of grim or as such. But it's these people going to this like wellness place to get better. Luke Evans is actually an investigative journalist, undercover type of thing. Yeah, it's interesting. I would check it out. 4 episodes are on Prime.
On Prime.
Yes.
Cool.
Episodes weekly, so that's kind of,
Oh.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
So it's Changing Rooms episode weekly. On Changing Rooms.
Brian, any thoughts on Nine Perfect Strangers?
I haven't watched it.
Any thoughts on Changing Rooms?
Not a fan.
Why?
I hate reality TV.
I listened to a podcast this week where they went off on a little tangent themselves about watching a reality show from 10 years ago, which was the second season of Rock of Love, where Bret Michaels tries to find love.
Yes, I remember
And
that, yeah.
the runner-up from that show, Daisy, they spun off a show called Daisy of Love, and they swear up and down, black and blue, that it is some of the funniest fucking television you will ever see, and is really well produced. And the idiots that are on this show are, all they did was give them alcohol, and the stuff that happened naturally, and it was ludicrous, and they were trying to spin off all of these idiots into their own shows, but then somebody murdered somebody on another VH1 show, so they cancelled all of that shit. I also discovered that I actually have this show on a hard drive from someone who gave it to me, and I never watched it. Anyone interested in watching an episode of Daisy of Love and seeing if it is
100%.
remotely amusing? The conversation went up and down about how this thing is. I expected contrived shitty reality TV show, and I got something that was so well made, it's just funny and entertaining.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. I'll check it out.
Overselling it, he said episode 5 is the funniest thing he's ever seen. And it's a big sell, or it's a big swing pitch wise, but the fact that I accidentally found I have it a day after listening to it made me suggest it.
I hate reality TV.
All reality television? Like,
Yeah, I hate it. It's up on my board here. I'm serious. Can you see that?
Oh, yeah, that's weird.
It's literally...
Why you haven't got a post note on your wall that like states that you hate reality TV?
personal disdain for reality TV. Can you elaborate?
Is that to remind your parents?
I am uncomfortable with disingenuity masquerading as authenticity. Extremely uncomfortable with it.
I've been watching lots of Below Deck.
So much so that it makes me upset or angry. Can't do it.
Okay,
Makes me feel bad.
fair. So we'll never watch a reality TV show on this thing.
So much so that it even sours my love for things like Planet Earth.
And yachts.
Because there's
They
staged
stitch together
sequences
stuff
in Planet
that's-
Earth.
Yeah, and there's the sound effects. I know they got to do it, but then also don't tell me it's, you know, a real candid moment when it's this super hyper
Produced.
constructed thing. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'll watch
sit
them and
with
I
me.
kind of find them entertaining to a degree, absolutely. But sometimes I'll be watching it and someone will say like, "Oh, like kind of why would you do that?" And this, I'm just like, it's reality TV though. Like it's all fake. Like kind of, it's not real.
Especially like when you see something in a small room and then you see it from another angle in a room where a camera couldn't possibly be. And it's like, so how many times did you perform the hate it so much?
So next week, Daisy of Love.
Ah, hate it.